Has your health been covered up? Today, it's Revealing Wholeness with Dr. Troy-Munson, presented to you by Infinity Whole Health.
Dr. Munson, I really want to jump right in today and talk about diseases that people catch that are incurable or at least seemingly incurable. How is nutrition going to help these people?
You know, it's a wonderful question. And before we jump into answering that, give me some examples of things you would think would be seemingly incurable.
Well, I would think that MS would probably be one of those.
Got it. And?
I'm not really sure of any others. Right now, MS is coming to mind because I know somebody that's got it.
Well, and a lot of those brain conditions, even things like arthritis, people think, well, this is an old age disease, and it's just something I'm going to have. And it's just going to be progressive, and there's nothing I can do about it. MS is kind of in that boat too, because MS is, it's a brain thing. Once you got the brain involved, what do you do then? I can remember being in school in the early 90s and being taught that the brain doesn't heal. They actually taught that. And within a very short period of time being out of school, all this research started coming out that, hey, the brain's very plastic. It actually can make new tissue. It does heal. And, why wouldn't we think that? If you get a concussion, is the brain irreversibly traumatized and now it's not going to heal? Well, of course not. It does heal. We thought that it was on a much more limited basis that it could do that. And nothing could be further from the truth, luckily, and hopefully that gives some people out there that maybe have some things that they're very concerned about that seem like there's nothing I do. This is my identity from here on out. And I want to give them hope that that's not necessarily true. And I'm going to put a little plug in there because sometimes a diagnosis can be the worst thing we could do. Once we get a diagnosis, we tend to believe it has power. Somebody in a white coat said that I have this. You know what? That's way too much authority given to an individual over another individual, in my opinion. And I think there's a lot more doctors that would also agree that, that white coat syndrome is really not a healthy thing. I'm always reminded of the story that I heard from Bernie Siegel, the famous cancer doctor, way back, at least 25 years ago. And he said that there was a 36-year-old man diagnosed with cancer and given 6 weeks to live. And he died 6 weeks to the day. And they went in and did an autopsy and they found out he didn't have cancer. It was a misdiagnosis. He believed that he was going to die. And so what did he do? Well, he died.
He willed himself to die.
Indeed. And so that's a really erroneous belief. And so before we say, hey, there's these incurable diseases, I just disagree. If, let's say like MS, we do an MRI and we see these little white spots on an MRI right in the right place that they're supposed to be, and we say, you have this particular gray matter in your brain is now calcified and you definitely have MS. We don't do anything else with diet or exercise or the way we think or the way we, things we breathe, the stress in our life, and we don't change any of that. Is it likely going to go away?
Probably not.
Probably not. Because what we did up to that point created what it is. And so let's say we have somebody out there who's got a genetic weakness in that portion of their brain, and when they do specific things, they're going to get MS. Somebody else is going to get diabetes. Somebody else is going to get arthritis. Somebody else is going to get heart disease. So all these things are even related. If we really want to put it past that and think, how can all these things be related? What we're looking at with a lot of these conditions, especially things like heart disease, MS, even Alzheimer's, diabetes, these are inflammatory conditions, but they're really raging infections in the body. As my body goes south and goes downhill, my organs slowly get depleted. They slowly perform less and less efficiently, though I don't notice it in the beginning because our organs, they only need to function at like 30, 35, 40% for us to feel pretty good. And so many people out there think, well, I'm okay. I'm doing great. And then all of a sudden something happens to them and bam, they realize I am not okay. And they wondered, how did they get so fast to this point? But it wasn't. It took many, many years to degrade to that position. So we look up at a ceiling and we say, oh my gosh, there's a little spot. I think I have a leak. But how long has that leak been going on? Well, the shingles had to wear away and slowly rot until finally it let it go through, and then it goes through the paper, it doesn't get wicked away, and now it goes into the sub whatever they call it for the roof, and now it eats away through that layer. insulation, goes through that, and then goes to the drywall, and then all of a sudden we see it as a spot. We think, oh my gosh, this isn't that bad. But is it? It's
been going on for years.
It's been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So these are the ways that the systems work, and our bodies are, God bless them, are really good about sucking it up and moving on, even in the face of what we do to them, until finally they just say, I've had enough. And that's when usually people wind up on a doctor's office and they've got a wonderful drug that they're going to try to treat a deficiency for, which makes no sense. I mean, the point at which in history we decided that drugs were better than the nutrients for the deficiency that we're looking at disease-wise is really silly. And so if we look at MS, we might have to do another segment on this just to kind of go in just real briefly to MS and kind of give an overview. We have calcification of the brain tissue. Well, anytime you have calcium infiltrating a tissue, whether it's like arthritis with a joint, or a heart muscle getting more stiff, or stiffness in our joints, or diabetes, they're all high blood sugar, high calcium in the blood. And that calcium is being precipitated out or congregating into tissues and now creating almost stones, if you will. Whether it's kidney stones, whether it's stones in muscles feeling stiff every morning, whether it's in my blood vessels, now my heart's having trouble pumping, so now I'm getting heart trouble. It's all part of it.
I know that we're really going to have to get into this on a part 2, because there's really a lot of information here that people are going to really want to hear about and have another show.
Can't wait to. It's going to be awesome.